Hello, everyone. It's William here at Allegory Gallery. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. It's great to be here. It's been a very busy day, and um, whew, it's been a long one, but we've persevered today. I hope you are persevering today as well. Um, I started my day. Um, we have a friend who I've been talking about has been going through some plumbing issues ever since the last great freeze, and they're still dealing with it, and we're still trying to help them out. Currently, they are without water and without heat because their heat is a boiler, and they need the water for that. Um, so I've been in touch with my mom and some of my family and friends, and my mom brought down some heaters so that they can have some extra heaters in their home and hopefully keep things warm because we are supposed to dip down, down, down into the below freezing temperatures for part possibly a few days this weekend. And we don't want anything more to happen. So kind of called in the reserves a little bit, and anybody in our family who kind of had a heater available, we gathered some up and took some over, and um, it's been quite the thing for them, and I feel so bad that there's not more that we can do, but they are working as best they can to get everything together. So while I was doing that, I started cleaning out my car a little bit. It was a nice day. It was gray. It was very gray today, but it was not raining for the first part of the day. So I started cleaning out the car a little bit. If you saw my post, I buffed the headlamp covers on our car. That's something I do once or twice every year. Um, you know, people might not know. Now, some cars, like our fog lights, they are just the bulbs underneath, so you can't really do much with those. But most cars have fog lamp covers that are made out of a very, very hard plastic. Um, and what happens is, as you're driving, small debris and bugs and rocks and things hit those, and they nick them up. And those nicks um, collect dirt, and they also cause the light to refract so that it doesn't go through the plastic. It actually refracts off of it and kind of spreads it before it can go through. So that causes your headlights to feel very dim. And every once in a while, I realize, oh, and it seems to happen very suddenly. That it happens that I'm just like, I'll be driving one day and I'll be like, oh, I can't see very well. And this happened like a few days ago. I realized that, and I realized that I probably should clean them off and buff them out. So there are solutions. I actually use a metal polish. They do make polishes for plastics too. But the one I use, my mom gave me, she used to use on her, or she uses on hers, and it's a metal polish, and you buff out the light, the coverings, and I usually buff them once, clean them off, buff them again, and then clean them off, and it really makes a huge difference. So it takes about 15 to 20 minutes. I don't use any special tools. I just buff them out with a washcloth. I pour the polish on the lights themselves, or the washcloth, and just buff it out, a dry washcloth, and just buff them out. Um, and it really helps. I could see tonight driving home. It was amazing the difference. And so I did that earlier today, dropped off heaters, um, gave a hug to our friend because they needed it, I think. And it was good to see them, even though, we're not far away. But when these things happen, it's hard. It's so hard. And so I did that, and cleaned up around the house a little bit more. Uh, just did a few, I can't even remember what all I did. I did some things around the house today. I don't know. And went up to the cottage, did a bunch of shipping. Thank you all for the orders over the Sweetheart weekend. I'm still shipping out orders, but I'm almost finished shipping a lot of those or getting ready to combine them. If you have multiple orders with us, combine them into other orders. And I did start shipping some of those out. I had to order more yellow padded envelopes. So I got those today and got those up to the cottage so I can continue packaging some of the smaller things for people. And got ready for the live. So that's it. Oh, I went grocery shopping too, and I shaved, which has been a while. I was very lazy, but I need to get a haircut yet, but I haven't done that. But I at least shaved. I got half of it done. Um, but I went grocery shopping. Andrew was asking about any if anybody around the area, and if you are around our area and you know, please let us know. We're looking for any possible vegetarian fish fries. And I know that's an odd thing. Some vegetarians eat fish. And so I think sometimes people don't understand when we ask things like that, like vegetarian fish fry. Vegetarians eat fish. Not all vegetarians eat fish. We are not pescatarians. So um, if anybody knows of any fish fries doing anything as a kind of fish substitute, um, because that is, we know fish fries often have other things with it, side dishes, and we can eat those. But when you're looking for, like, we just miss that fish, and we can buy it, we can make it. But a lot of the uh, fire stations um, around here do the fish fries as a way to raise money. It's a big fundraiser for that. And if anybody knows any of them that are doing like fake fish substitutes, like good breaded stuff, but it's, fake fish, um, let us know. I don't know if anybody does that. I don't even know if it's a thing, but we would love to be able to take part in that community aspect of going to a fish fry, but actually being able to eat the fish or the fake fish. Um, and so if you're around this area and you're watching this and you know of anyone doing anything like that, let us know, because it's been a long time since we've been able to go to a fish fry and support. A lot of churches do it, a lot of fire stations around here do it. Um, and we'd love to be able to support if we can, but nobody does the fake. Now I know the fake fish is more expensive, but you can get it. We can get it. I tried to get it tonight at the supermarket, but I guess our supermarket no longer sells that particular one, the one we used to get. So I've got to go somewhere else to try to find it. I was going to try and surprise Andrew with it today, but couldn't. But we would love to take part in the community aspect of that. So let us know if anybody knows. Let's see who's here. Kimberly's here. Hello, Kimberly. Leslie's here. Hello. Hello, Leslie. Susie's here. Hello, Susie. Thank you for joining us. Norma's also here. Thank you for being here, Norma. Everybody's saying hi to everybody else. Norma says, I saw that and bought some of that cleaner. My headlights have looked bad for a while and I didn't know what to use. So thanks for the info. Thank you. I hope you used my link because I get a kickback. I get a kickback on that if you use my link to buy it. Uh, I sent out an Amazon link for some people asking what polish I actually use, and I found it on Amazon, and I made a link. So we'll get a little bit of deal. And if you buy anything else on Amazon after you've used that link, go buy some TVs or something, and we'll get a kickback on that too. It'll help our small business. Um, but yeah, I'm glad people saw that. A lot of people didn't realize you could polish your headlamps. I did not know that until my mom and dad told me. Um, and you can. Now, like I said, every car is different. There used to be some older cars. I don't know about newer cars. We don't have a new car, but some of the cars, the headlamps, are just the bulbs, and there's not much you can do with that. But usually when they're just the bulbs, the glass is stronger than the plastic, so you don't have that same issue. But if you have a plastic covering over it, it's a lot less expensive to polish them up than to replace that plastic covering. So you can save a lot of money just doing it yourself. And like I said, it takes 15-20 minutes. I just polish in little micro circles, um, and it works really quickly. And then it rained. So that was one of the reasons I stopped doing stuff around here. It started raining, and it cleaned off the rest. I cleaned them off with a wet paper towel just to wipe them down, but then they got completely cleaned off by the rain. So that was nice. It rained pretty hard here too. Norma says, I did use your link. Thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, so that was my day. We also, oh, I know what I did. I also put out the AG Bead Fam challenge today, finally this week. Although I can't say much because we've been doing it on Thursdays or Fridays. I think the last one when we said to use a heart, the first one was to use a heart in your design, and I think we popped that out on a Thursday or a Friday for Valentine's. And so this one I put out was to use mixed metals because we were talking about that in the show yesterday, that a lot of people are seeing many, many more designers and even higher end designers using mixed metals and what are considered lower quality metals, like the brass and bronze instead of sterling, instead of gold. And so, and pewter as well, of course. Don't forget the AG Fine Pewter line. A lot of people have been buying a lot of things from the AG Fine Pewter line recently, and I think that's partially because they're extremely good prices. Um, that collection that we have has been a collection that we purchased the rights to and the inventory from. So it's stuff that's left over from a time when it was not as expensive to cast. So we continued, as we always do, using the old prices. I don't know why we do this to ourselves sometimes, but um, we could make a lot more money. Maybe, I don't know, maybe people wouldn't buy it if it was higher. But um, we continued using the prices from way back when that was cast, practically in the 90s, I believe, a lot of it. 90s and early 2000s it was cast. So the AG Fine Pewter stuff that we have on our website, we don't carry it in the store. I do have a small selection that I'm starting to bring into the store and organize. So if you pop in the store this weekend, I will probably have a small collection of it if you want to check them out in person. But you can find the whole collection online, and people have really been buying more of that. There's antique gold finish, antique silver finish, and antique copper finishes on most of those items, and they give you that great look of mixed metals, and even though it's all pewter. Um, so people are really doing that. We were talking about that in the show last night. So I made that as the AG Bead Fam challenge for the week. If you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, the AG Bead Fam challenge is a smaller kind of challenge than the Beat in the New Year. The Beat in the New Year was a January calendar where we had one challenge every single day in January to help you get through the doldrums. Sometimes after the holidays, people are worn out. They don't know what to make. They're frazzled. We try to help you with that by providing a calendar for January with new prompts every day. Do as many of them as you want. Do as few of them as you want. Use them in January. Use them in March. Use them in August. Use them throughout the whole month or the whole year if you want to. Um, so people kept asking if we were going to do another calendar for February or another month. And we decided that doing one every day, a challenge every day, is a lot. Most people are not going to keep up with that, especially going into the summer months. And a lot of people didn't even do all of the challenges yet from January. So we decided instead of doing one every day, we will do a challenge every month for the year of 2026. So we've named that the AG Bead Fam Challenge. So if you're part of the Bead Fam, you can join us in that challenge. Even if you're not, you are. If you're joining us, you are, whether you know it or not. Um, and you can partake in that. So that is the new challenge, and you can show things off in the Allegory Gallery Design Challenges group on Facebook. If you're following us on Facebook, then you know where to find us there, right? Um, Allegory Gallery on Facebook. There's a link to the Allegory Gallery Design Challenges group on our main profile, or you can just search Allegory Gallery Design Challenges and the group will pop up for you, hopefully. And you can join. Please make sure you join. It's an open group. It's a public group. I don't think you even have to join to post. I think you can post without necessarily joining, maybe. Maybe you have to post to join. Maybe you have to join to post. But please join. Even if you don't have to, hit the join button, stay in touch with us. It helps. It makes us feel good and be a part of the family. How's everybody else out there doing? Everybody's quiet. Everybody's so quiet. Everybody said hi to each other and then they're quiet. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Marianne's here, just got home. Hello, Marianne. Thanks for being here. I'm trying to see, comments are working, but I'm trying to make sure that I can have this on here. There we go. Have it on my computer just in case it doesn't quite work. Um, Let me just switch this over. Yeah. Hi, everybody. So that's been my day. That's been my day. How's your day been? What have you all up to? What have you all been up to? So, what did I get instead of fake fish tonight to eat? Because the store didn't have it. I got burgers. I got Beyond Burgers. Beyond Burger has apparently come out. It may have been out. Our store, I think, just recently got them because I don't remember seeing them before. But they're these bigger, juicier burgers, and they come in a pack of 6. And generally, we eat 2 to 3 burgers when we make them at home. Um, they're also usually smaller when we make them at home because they're the small version. So I don't know if we'll eat them all, but I got burgers and a salad for tonight. So I was kind of in the mood for burgers. Some of y'all mentioned burgers the other day, and it's been in my mind ever since. So that's that's been what's going on. That's what I got for dinner tonight. How are y'all doing? What'd you have for dinner? Tell me the details. Um, uh, we have been watching this show, and now I'm going to forget the name of the show. I don't know if Andrew's watching. Um, if it's Almost Home, I forget the name of the show, um, which is terrible. It's on Netflix. Now I've got to look. Um, because I've actually found it to be we've been enjoying watching it. Um, and what is this? What is it asking me? Oh, it wants me to put in a code. I don't have the code. Never mind. Um, I think it's something about, I think it's like Almost Home or something like that. Um, it's about time traveling. I'll say that. Um, and it's interesting. We watched the first season. We're starting the second season now, and I've really been enjoying it. It's kind of an it's kind of an easy watch a little bit. Um, and there's also points like some of the characters in it, you're not sure if they're going to be good or if they've got ulterior motives or but it's been fun. It's been interesting. And it's like I said, it's a kind of easy watch to end the evening with. So that's what we've kind of been watching. Marion says, I'm going to have a fried egg sandwich. That sounds good. Oh, I got eggs too. I got burgers, I got eggs, I got salad. Um, and so I feel like I got something else too. Apples. I got some apples. The apples were on sale, 99 cents a pound. So I got some apples today. And yeah, that's it, y'all. That's what I've been doing. I sent out an email today highlighting some of Andrew's bronze coins. We were talking about that. I had one for sale. You know what? While I'm talking to, I'm actually going to cut paper because I just realized I need to cut some paper. Um, uh, and we were talking about that because I had one for sale yesterday, and somebody grabbed it up. So thank you for doing that. Was it yesterday or the day before? But I realized that we have a few left, and more people have been buying them in the online store recently. I think again because of the price of silver and gold. So Andrew's bronze coins, we've had a few people buying them in the online store, and I figured, hey, if people are looking at these, I'm going to send out an email and talk about them a little bit. Um, we have been Andrew's been the clay, the bronze clay that he uses to make those. The company has discontinued that, so he's working with a new company, trying to work on their new formula and testing things, and he's working on some new designs as well. But I figured while we have them, we'll go ahead and show these ones off. There aren't too many of each one. I think the most there are of each design is 3. So if you're interested in those, grab them at allegorygallery.com. It's in the email I sent out today. There's links for it. If you get our email, you can check out the links. and see if there are any you might want to grab. Um, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be making those designs again. So, because he's working on some new stuff, I think he mentioned the other day, which I'm excited about. But there was, as I was going through the inventory, I realized that there was a miscount on our scarab beetle hours. Andrew's scarab beetle bronze coin, and um, it was saying there were none available, and I had one. So I added that back into stock. So there is a scarab beetle, if you're interested in that, that I put back into the online store that you may not have seen before if you've just looked in the past few days at the bronze coins. So that was a nice find. I like when that happens. I don't necessarily like when that happens because that means that it's been a miscount. We've had it not counted for quite some time. Um, but it's been sitting there not being sold, but it is nice to find it. Kimberly says, yes, it is mine. Where is that? Allegorygallery.com. And if you look up bronze coins, here, I'll send a link out if you want me to. Maybe you don't want me to. Bronze pendant. And there's the scarab. It's still available. Nobody's grabbed it yet. Let's see, paste. Let's see if it'll paste. All right. And let's see if I can send it. Is that going to send it? There it goes. There it is. There's the link. The link working. The link's working. So that is the scarab beetle, and it is available on our website. Only one, just the one right now. That one was one I don't think he made many of. I wish he made many of those, but there's only the one left. So that's it. And I'm trying to think of anything else that happened today. I made a lot of sent out kits for a lot of people grabbing the fire horse kit. Started shipping a lot of those. Actually started shipping those yesterday, but continued shipping them today. We still have a few left. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining us. Says here a bit, then to Facebook lurking mode Zoom meeting. Oh, okay. Well, glad you could join us here for a little bit anyway. So yeah, that's what's happening. And like I said, don't forget to look at the AG Fine Pewter. Really good prices on those. We are still looking for a good caster for that stuff. If you happen to know any casters, particularly in the US, please don't hesitate to send us an email and let us know if it's somebody that you know you've used that does pewter casting, or a company that somebody who has used. We would love to get information about that, because we have looked into a number of them. Some of them have gone out of business. When we were in Providence, that's where a lot of them used to be. We tried to make appointments with them. That was a number of years ago. And it was also during COVID, and some of them had closed and some of them were just still closed for COVID. We don't know how many of them have reopened, but if you do know of anyone doing that kind of casting, please do let us know, because we need to get to the place where we need to start looking at continuing to produce this line, and also seeing what costing is going to be when we do continue to produce the line. Hey, Susie, thanks for joining us. I say a lot, I just realized that. Not just. I'm trying to eliminate that when I talk, but it's not easy. It's not easy. I say that a lot, I think, when I'm just talking in person too. Drink. Len is here, says also lurking. Hello, Len. Thanks for joining us. Glad you're here. So that's life. Life in the small business world. It's been pretty good. I would say we are we are thankfully seeing some new customers come through the online store. And that's if you've been like, wow, he's sending out a lot of emails lately. Um, that's why. I think the ever since I've upped sending out more and more emails, we have been getting a few new customers here and there. And so I hope you don't mind getting our emails. Uh, and I hope you're subscribed if you're watching. Check to make sure. But I have been trying to send out more and more emails, not every day, but trying to do it at least every other day, if not every day, because it does seem to help. And it is the one thing that does seem to be helping right now. Facebook views, not so much. Um, as we've talked about, like these lives, I think because we do them over StreamYard, they're a little bit suppressed, so we don't get many viewers on Facebook. And um, YouTube certainly doesn't push out lives, especially when you do them horizontally, landscape mode. So, and when it does push them out to people, it's not always the right people. We get a lot of spammers when we try other things. So, or trolls, you know that. You've seen that happen to us. So, we are trying to figure out ways that we can continue to get new people and get people, enthusiastic about what we do. And I think we're a little bit, I think we're special in the bead world a little bit in that we do things a little differently. We're not only suppliers of beads, but and whether it's new or vintage, but we also make our own things. We make our own art. Um, it's more of an artisan kind of place, I think, but then we also sell beads. And so, I know it's not for everybody, but I think there are people out there who would love what we do who haven't found us yet. And we hope that if you come across anybody, if you're watching this and you come across anybody who you think might like what we do, you'll let them know. Um, it really means a lot. Word of mouth is how we built our business for the most part. And we're trying to continue with that. In this digital age, everybody wants you to pay for ads and pay for things. And we cannot continue to keep our prices as low as we do if we have to do that. And that's what we're trying to, strike a balance between getting new customers and retaining old customers and giving good service. We always want to do that, but also keeping us all afloat here because, times are tough for a lot of people. And I wish we were in a place where people were really feeling like, that the things were super prosperous for everybody. And that's just not the case right now. People are tightening up a lot. And um, we are appreciative of every sale, whether that's, a $10 sale on the online store or a $300 sale during a live, whatever that is. We're super appreciative of all of that. And, we can't thank you all enough who do watch and do share what's going on. Okay, so how's everybody doing? I see, I'm gonna start doing comments in the comment section because you all say hi to everybody and you're all commenting to each other, but when I ask questions, you don't comment back. You don't like me anymore? Everybody don't want to hear from me anymore. I'm gonna start to have a complex. I'm gonna start uh, asking questions in the comment fields instead. Um, I know it's hard to watch and comment that sometimes, but I do see y'all saying hi. So y'all, what's going on? How was your day? Let me know. Have you done anything fun today? What was the weather like where you're at? Like I said, it rained here and it rained hard at one point, and it was very cold rain. I was out. This is all that I had my coat on today too, but at one point I went outside to the car just in this at the cottage, and it was cold, even though it's not too cold today, thankfully. But we are, weather is starting to change a little bit. We're actually under a flood watch. Okay, didn't know that. Until 1 p.m. tomorrow, we are now under a flood watch. Yay. I guess the rain has stopped now, but it's supposed to rain from 1 a.m. until 7 a.m. all night long. Um, but tomorrow is supposed to be 60 degrees. That's actually the highest it's supposed to be. Um, Susie says, no one over here on Facebook to talk to. I know. I see. There's two people watching on Facebook, and one of them is probably me. Um, but you can talk in the comments. You can reply back to me, and I'll talk. Um, let's see here. Len says, I sometimes watch without sound because of poopy, or I listen without seeing whilst doing other things. I try not to type unless I can answer. I get it. I get it. Susan says, thankfully there weren't any severe storms here. Oh yeah, you were worried. You had possible tornadoes coming through. I'm glad that worked out for you. Um, yeah. Was there did you get any kind of weather? I'm always amazed how we get more and more technological, and you would think we'd be better at weather forecasting, and I'm sure we are, but it still feels like, as a layperson, not in meteorology, I still feel like how often they are wrong. And I know weather is very unpredictable, but yeah. But that's really great that there were no severe storms there, and I'm sorry you had to go through the torturous mindset, the anxiety of thinking that that was going to happen and then it didn't. I'm glad it didn't. I just wish you didn't have to have the precursor of anxiety for that. Norma says, I had a little light rain, but my friends a few miles north in Lexington had heavy rain and golf ball sized hail. It was almost 70. We were under a tornado watch, but it doesn't look likely. That's wild. 70 degrees, golf ball sized hail, heavy rain, and tornado watches. I don't like any of that. I don't like any of that. We had heavy rain at one point, but that was it. Um, Maze here says, "Hey AGB fam, painting done, but now have to put all the stuff back." Isn't that that's the that's the hard part. It is the hard part for me, putting things back. It's easy to rip things away, but I am one of those people that get super focused, um, and not in a practical way, but I get super focused on the things, not putting them back, but focus not on the actual effort I'm trying to make, but like on the things. Like if I dare move books, I'm like going through each book to look at the title and have I read this book? What is this book? Where does this book go? Should I then I get stuck in my head like should I organize these by author or by like and then it ends up to the point I'm just like throwing them at some point back on the shelf. Um, so I get very detail oriented in the worst kind of procrastinating way. I'm like, I know right now, like I'm looking at it across the room. I have a fairly decent vinyl collection. I've acquired it from some friends who've donated to me when, people they know are getting rid of stuff. I have stuff from my family. I have stuff I've collected, and they are in no order whatsoever. Like at some point, I had my family albums kind of together in order, um, and they still probably kind of are a chunk somewhere in there, but they are not organized. I don't know who all I have records of. Um, Especially when people give me things, I usually take them and I'll look through them quickly to see, like, yeah, I'll take this and take this, but I don't actually have them categorized in any way. And I know the day, like, I keep putting it off because I know how long it will take, but it makes me a little bit crazy that I don't know what I have either. And so I understand. I understand. Putting things away is sometimes the hardest part of everything. Susan says, a thunder shower with some lightning and tiny hail, but it didn't last long. We do need rain. Yeah, we need rain too. And I get that. Um, and I actually heard thunder today too. I heard thunder, which I have not heard in quite some time, and it's very odd for us to hear thunder in the winter. But I heard thunder today, which was kind of cool, kind of like hopeful for the spring, right? I'm hoping the thunder coming means that spring showers are on the way soon. Um, Susie says, well, I bent down to pick up a sock and something slid around my lower back. It hurts, but I can stand. Hopefully, it won't get worse. I did that the other day. I posted about it, threw out my lower back, bending over to put laundry in the dryer, putting laundry in the dryer, and no, I was actually pulling something out of the dryer, and I bent down, pulled it out of the dryer, and as I stood up, I felt pop, and that took until just a few days ago. It took like a week or two at least 2 weeks to finally feel better. Um, so I hope you feel better sooner than that, and I hope it does not get worse. Um, I've also been lifting bags of pellets quite often, and they are 40-pound bags. I believe 40-pound bags of pellets. I usually lift at least 2 a day, to the car, from the garage to the car, and then from the car to the inside of the cottage. And then I lift them up to pour them into the pellet stove. So that has helped strengthen my back, I think. It's always harder at the beginning of winter, and then by the end, I'm like just throwing pellet bags, picking them up, tossing them around. Um, and that also tells me that I'm not strong enough and I need to do some either weightlifting or um, strength training of some sort. I know that my back feels a lot better and does that less often when I am doing the strength training that I set up for myself. Um, but I also know that um, I do things that maybe other people shouldn't do, and maybe I shouldn't do. They always tell you, find a trainer and all that. I just make up my own little things, but I also just use little resistance bands. I don't use weights. Although I've been watching some things on YouTube about some people in their 80s. They've been doing um, this weightlifting, and there was a woman. It's this woman that did it for herself, I believe, and then she's been doing this documentary series on YouTube, kind of her parents. And her mom, who's in her 80s, was barely able to walk 60 seconds, even with a walker. She had a walker, but she could barely stand for 60 seconds while walking because it hurt so bad. And she was very hunched over. And the her husband also had issues. He had a now I can't think of it, hernia. He had a hernia because he was doing something that he didn't think was very stressful, but ended up getting a hernia over it. So his core wasn't strengthened. And so they took them on a journey. There's a company out there, and I can't remember the name right now, that starts people on this lifting journey. Generally, people who are older, but also people who have had injuries, or really, I think they start it with anybody, if you want to start this journey, because they say pretty much after your 30s, you start decreasing in muscle mass and bone, um, you know, um, not bone mass, but you can go into osteoporosis and all that. And they have found with her parents that her mom is now able to walk for like 15 minutes without a walker at all. Her dad is walking much faster and more stable and is able to do more things, and they're lifting probably more weight than I could ever lift right now. And it's kind of amazing, the transformation. And they looked over a year's journey, and then now I think they're on the second year. They also increased their bone strength and their muscle mass, and they actually were able. They've shown that as they've been lifting, the addition of muscle has also given them more bone mass. So their bodies are producing and kind of strengthening their bones, which is kind of wild to think. And so ever since I've been watching that, now I'm like on this kick, like, should I? We have some weights in our basement that came with the house. They were in a little kind of cold cellar underneath the porch. And I'm like, maybe I should be doing some of that, because they say resistance bands don't do the same thing. It's really the weights that you want. I don't know what the difference would be, but apparently there's a difference. So now I'm thinking, maybe I should get a gym membership too and just do it that way. Anyway, May says rain stopped here, but we'll have cold temps tonight. Yeah, I don't know what our temperature is supposed to go down to tonight. Um, I guess 41. It's 43 right now, so we're not going to get too cold tonight, thankfully. Um, and then tomorrow is 60, but then we're dropping. 32 is a low, then we're going into the 40s, and then the 30s, and then the 20s. Um, and yeah, it looks like right now, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, those days we could be below freezing, which is not fun. But then we're going to go back up, 40s, 50s again. So I'm happy about that. Um, but those freezing temperatures are hard, and we're really also thinking of our friend out there who we're hoping all works out. Norma says, "Oh no, Susie, I hate when that happens. Hope it eases up quickly." Yeah, for sure, for sure. May says, "I did that earlier in the week, William. That's why I'm still at this mess of mine." Yeah, right. You start really either when you're taking things away. Sometimes it is when you're just any kind of reorganization. If you're pulling something out of a place and putting it back in another place, sometimes I just get very, very um, detailed, and it's not great. It's not great. But also, I get really hard on myself for not getting a lot done then, and then I don't do more. And really, if I just did a little bit every day, even if it was detailed work, I'd get something done, right? If I'd give up like a half hour of TV and just at the end of my evening and just did that instead, I might have a collection of vinyl that I knew what I had. Who knows? Who knows? Diane says, "Hey, Diane, thanks for being here." It says, "I understand getting my brain trying to organize my findings. All sterling silver together, gold together, etc., or all same metal items together, like ear wires, crimps." Yeah, yeah. It's hard to get out of your own mind sometimes and just do the work, right? Because then you start thinking, okay, these are all gold, but do I want them organized by design? Do I want them like do I need to split them up in certain ways? When really, if you just did it by gold, you could look, right? You could look pretty easily through it. Or, it doesn't need to be, because I'm one that I can get very hierarchical. I don't even know if that's a word, but I can get very much like that. So it'll start here, and this is gold. Okay. And then it's going to break down to this, and then it's going to break down to this, and then these ones are going to break down to this, but these ones are going to break down to that. And then by the time I'm done, I've done like almost nothing. I've got a good plan, maybe, but I've actually organized nothing. And then that plan never gets used. And I'm just like, if I'd have just done it this easiest way and then worried about it later, at least something would have gotten done. Mary Ann says, "Please let it not take 1 week, Susie." Right? May says, "I'm attempting more weight training myself. Not too heavy, just working up to what I used to lift." I've never done actual weight training like that, so I don't know what I could lift. Um, and that's where probably I should start with, like I always think I should start with somebody who knows what they're doing. And I don't know, like we have a YMCA. I don't know if they have I know they have trainers, but I don't know if it's an extra cost or if there are people around just as you're exercising to help you show you what to do. Um, but I really need to probably look into that because it's really just almost right across the street. And it would probably be a good thing for me to do. Um, and instead of trying to, buy the equipment and then maybe not use it, I have a habit of doing that. I'm like, oh, the gym membership's going to cost, but then I'm like, but then I want to buy all the stuff, and then if I'm not going to use it anyway, I can at least cancel the gym membership. Um, so that's a whole thing. Susie says, "I threw my back out the week before Christmas. I remember that and couldn't even stand up." Yeah, you said found a mobile chiropractor to help, which it did. But damn, I missed work and had to have groceries delivered. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. And I remember that you did say the mobile chiropractor helped a lot, which is good. Um, Susie says, "I hope I'm not down that road again." No, don't. Just don't. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Um, Marianne says, "I would be very happy with 41 degrees. Yeah, you're cold up there right now, right? Hey, Anna, thanks for joining us. Glad you can be here. Um, I've got a package on the way to you, Anna. I don't know if you saw the email, but just to let you know, um, I'll drop it off probably in the morning to the post office. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm trying to think about doing. Trying to find ways that, we are so busy and we keep ourselves so busy. I mean, a lot of people talk to us and they're like, we don't know how you do it all. I was just talking to somebody at the store the other day, and they were talking about what they do, and they have a business and they have about 5 people that all went in to make this work. And they were talking to me and they're like, I don't know how you do it as 2 people and do all the things that you do. um, and we do a lot, and I don't think Andrew nor I give ourselves credit for as much as we get done, because it's just become normal. Like, and if we can't do the normal, then we get down on ourselves, and if we can't do extra, we get even down on ourselves. But trying to find ways to add some things that are, as we get older, we do need to exercise more and we do need to eat a little better. um, and we're trying to find ways. I'm trying to find ways. I know Andrew's trying to build in things that we can do better for ourselves, and kind of not only continue our business and make our business last, but continue ourselves and have ourselves last. And so, if anybody has any tips on how to fit in all that stuff without, adding more hours to a day, um, I'd love to know, because I'm trying to figure it all out myself right now. Um, because we pretty much, um, from the moment I wake up and feed the cats, I'm off to work, and until about the moment till I end the live and we eat it around midnight. Um, so we're usually I put in at least a 10 to 14 hour day every single day. Um, of working, which is a good bit. Um, but we I also know that it's important, and I've seen in my family, I know the things that my grandparents were up against. I know, as far as health wise and body wise, I know what my mom has gone through and my dad have been through. And so I'm trying to do the things so that, try to offset some of the things that I already know about, and trying to do that. And I don't know if y'all are in that circumstance where you're trying to do that. I also feel a lot of energy right now. I feel like there's some good energy going on at the moment. I don't know if other people are feeling it. I saw on Facebook today, one of my friends did mention that they are feeling like there's this boost of energy right now. Um, and I feel like I'm tuning into that a little bit, and I don't know how you all are feeling, but I feel like um, there was this, kind of wave this week. Maybe it's because my birthday's coming up. That's also a thing for me, but it really feels like there's been a wave of energy, of good energy, and that things are. Leslie says it's the fire horse. It's been since that day. That day was a very good day mentally. Um, and I've had fairly good days mentally since then. And, there's a lot, like I said, whether you believe in astrology or not, I've never been one to believe in it like super, super hard. And I don't know much about it. I'm not somebody who dives into astrology, but I've been listening to some things, and the things that are happening cosmically in some cases have not happened for many, many years and don't come around very often. And they're all saying, everyone I've listened to is saying that it is definitely a time of change, but it is a change heading toward the better side of things. Um, and it's like, no matter who I've been listening, and I've been trying to listen to a lot of different ones, because like I said, I don't necessarily believe in it super hard, but um, it is. I try and do the research, the just listening, and trying to absorb as much information as people are putting out. And a lot of people are saying that it is a very positive turn starting to happen. Anna says, we need the good energy. We do. We do. We need the good energy. Um, so yeah, it's I've been feeling it, and I feel like it's been it's been a good thing that's starting to happen. And I don't know, I feel like there are good things on the way for us. And I hope that you feel it too. Um, I don't do tarot readings, I don't do those things, but um I've been watching some of that too. And um a lot of people are saying good things are coming. There's like a wave of it. And when that's happening, the internet can be a place of despair. um, and there are a lot of times, I feel like there have been times when you watch things like that or you listen to things and people bond by trauma. And I think for so many of these readers and these people doing charts, and for so many of them to feel like the good things are coming, um, I feel like that means something because they're not trying to bond over what the bad that's happening, um, which people can fall into. Um, and I think that, bonding over good things is harder. I don't know why. Um, I don't think it's harder in person. I think when you have a really good experience with somebody, I think that helps you bond with people. But, you know, negative things are just easier for some reason. And I mean, trauma bonding is the term for it. It's a real thing. And it seems like we see that a lot. And um, people are quick to dismiss good things sometimes, because sometimes the good things are small. And I do, I've been feeling good things lately, and I've been trying to tune into them more and just acknowledge them more because everything that's different starts out small, I think. Like we can have big, great things happen, right? But the big, giant things don't usually last, right? And so I feel like, and maybe this is not news to anybody, but I feel like when you tune into the little things and try it, even when they're small, if they're good and you tune into them, you will see more of them. You will bring about more of them. You will just notice more of them. It is a psychological, it is a brain science, neurological thing that when you start tuning into certain things, you will see more of them. It's just how it works. When you buy a new car, you suddenly see your car everywhere, or you see the color of your car everywhere. Um, when you wear a certain color shirt, you will see that color more often. When you are tuned into something differently, you start seeing it in the world. And I don't know how many times I've learned a new word, and then that word that I've never seen before, I swear I've never seen it before, it starts showing up in everything I read. Um, and so it's a thing. And I forget the actual, there's an actual term for that, but your brain does that. It selectively starts seeing things, and you can force it to happen. Um, and that's what they talk a lot about. What vision boards really are is making a vision board is just putting in your mind that you are going to see these things you want in the world, and you are going to start seeing more of them outside of your sphere. You are looking for them. You're training your brain to see those things. And of course, you're going to start seeing them because that is biologically how it happens. And so um, I've been trying to do that with small things, even if it's just my cat's blinking at me. I'm like, that is a good thing. That is a beautiful thing that this creature that, lives with us, um, has decided that it loves me enough and is feels safe enough to close its eyes to me, because that's what a kitty kiss is, right? It's when your cats blink at you. Many of you have cats, many of you know this, but if you don't know this, um, if your cats are blinking at you, they feel safe enough around you to close their eyes to you. And as an animal, it means a lot, if they feel safe, that safe, that they feel like they can close their eyes and nothing's going to happen to them when that happens. And so, um, even if it's something small, which I don't necessarily consider that small, I love it every single time it happens. But when it's things like that and you just start looking at them and we have five little cats in our house and our little fur babies, and they're all so different and they all have different emotions and expressions, and I've just been trying to tune into each one of them a little bit more to help see the good, because they're good. They have their issues sometimes, um, but in general, they're sorting that out. But they are good in general. Um, and so that's just what I've been doing. Marianne says, "Misery loves company." It's true. It's a saying for a reason. And I'm trying to not be in that company. That's what I'm trying to get out of. And it's not easy these days. It's not easy at all these days. Hey, Jennifer, thanks for joining us. How are you doing out there? Um, it is not easy these days. It's not always easy anytime, right? I think we've become very disconnected from one another. We are more connected than ever, and yet we are, I think, more disconnected than we have been in a very long time from one another. And that is a kind of paradoxical thing that is going on. And I don't know what you do about that. Um, but, trying to have more meaningful conversations with people, trying to be open and honest about how I feel about things, like I'm doing here, right? Um, and just opening up about the things that I'm facing and the things that I'm afraid of. Because, I think a lot of people are afraid of a lot of different things. Um, in every whether you're on any political side, whether you're in any certain class, people have fears. And I think the more we don't talk about those, sometimes the worse it is. We hide the fears. We don't want to express them. We don't want to feel vulnerable. And yet, for hundreds of thousands of years, we grew up in communities where we took care of one another and we expressed those things and we danced around fires and we sat and we talked and we did all these things, and now we don't. We can send a message to someone across the world, but we are not vulnerable with each other anymore. And I think that's part of a huge disconnect. Um, anyway, that's what I feel like. And we try and do our part by, sometimes we ask questions on Facebook, sometimes we share things, the social media, trying to use it to not divide, but try to understand. And, I think that uh, there are algorithms out there that are meant to do things in certain ways, but I think we also have some power to, bring about change if we want to. Um, those algorithms are being used because they work on people. And if we get to the point where we decide what we want to have working, they have to change it. They have to continue to do whatever we want. Um, so anyway, that's where I'm at. That's what I've been trying to do. Um, Andrew says, "We're lucky to have the AG Bead fam." Hello, Andrew. Yeah, we are. We are very lucky. And, we are surrounded by people who, may not agree with every single thing that we say, and we don't want that. Um, that's what I think a lot of people misunderstand sometimes. I don't think we all want people who think exactly like us, but we want people who are open to understanding where we're coming from. I don't think everybody can agree on every single thing. I don't think that's what the world should be. It should not be this world of sameness. Um, but we are so lucky that when we are afraid, when we are worried, when we are enthusiastic, when we are happy, that people are willing to listen and people are willing to try to understand where we're coming from. Um, and I think that's where a lot of, um, I think that's why this community that we have is so special, because we're willing to try to understand. I think that's what the world has lost a lot of, in my opinion. Um, Sitting down with a friend, sitting down with a neighbor, and trying to understand. Um, like I said, we don't all agree, and that's fine. Um, you know, to a certain extent, like there are things that, that people, you know, but there are also nuances and you know just things that no one's ever going to think the same about entirely. But when you can listen to each other, and when you can say, maybe I don't agree, but I understand where you're coming from, or thank you for sharing that viewpoint with me. And we sometimes have those conversations, and understanding people's viewpoints. We don't all come from the same place. We have not been raised the same way. We all, almost all of us, have some sort of trauma from how we were brought up, or we've learned along the way in life, or things we felt weren't fair, or things that changed us. And by listening to people, a lot of times you see parts of yourself in that, and maybe you chose a different path, but you can understand why they chose how they did. Maybe you can share your experience with each other, and you know because at some point you had something in common, you had that piece of something in common, I should say, and maybe you diverged at some point, but you started with something in common. And maybe you can understand why, or understand more deeply why somebody chose one way or the other. But, you know, and that's why I think this group is very special, because we do that. We do not lash out at one another. We do not confront one another without, like, sometimes we confront one another, right? Sometimes you have to, but not in an evil or an angry way. And it is a special thing, um, and it's not something that we see everywhere. Marion says we are all lucky to be part of the AG family. I hope you feel that way. I really do. Monica's here. Hello, Monica. Says people have become so mean on social media in many groups. This group is very special. We try. You know, there has been, and I just finished talking about how I'm trying to see the good, right? Trying to see the good, trying to see what is happening in the world, and trying to, still look for the things that make you happy and make other people happy. And I think the things that we do at Allegory Gallery, we try very hard to do things that make us happy, but also have an impression on the rest of the world as much as we can. We're small. We don't have a huge, our little pebble in the water doesn't ripple very far in the grand scheme of things, but we always have other people in mind when we do things. Um, and we we try to honor that, and we try to create a space that is safe for many different kinds of people, right? There are many different kinds of people out there. And growing up in a very rural area, um, with during the 80s and 90s, with the AIDS epidemic and all of that going on, this scariness of all that happening, the being gay, knowing I was, but not being able to come out about it, not being able to talk to anybody about it, for fear that there would be backlash or concern, or anything happening between AIDS, between just being gay, between religious things going on. You grow up with that, and you want, I hope, and that's what happened to me, you want to see it easier for people. You want to make things easier for people. You don't want somebody else to have to go through what you went through. I know there are people that go through things and they want other people to have to do that. We aren't those people. We would like to provide safe spaces for people to talk and to relate and to, open up about what's going on. And so that thing that they're trying to get over or trying to move past is no longer as traumatic and people can understand them. And, you know, I think if we had more of that, and that's why we try to build this family, that's why we try to, we don't get into these deep conversations too often on the lives because you never know how people are going to take things. I say things in a stream of consciousness when I talk about this because I get, I think you do. When you get into a deep conversation, you say things that flow naturally. I believe that there's a kind of flow state, and I feel like I broke it up by talking about it a little bit, but you get into a flow state of talking about these things because they're very important to you and they're a part of your core being and who you are. And that's where I think the whole AGB fam came from, that very respectful, very caring, very, you know, devotional aspect of our beings. And I know that sounds very deep or whatever, but we wanted to form a group and a community around caring and around, understanding more than anything, probably. And we want everybody to feel safe. We want people to feel like they're understood. But we also don't want people lashing out and being combative for no reason, just to be combative. And we don't have that, and we're very thankful for that. And those people generally see themselves out. Everyone's at different stages of development and understanding themselves. And I think when it comes to people lashing out over any small thing, I think that's not where we're at. And you all out there are carrying that same vibe that we have, I think. And, and some of you are much more in tune than we are, even. Um, like, I don't mean to put us, I some of you are way beyond where even we are, and we look to you, as guiding spirits. Sometimes this is not that we started this group and we are in charge, and we don't think that way. I feel like I can learn something from a 5-year-old, and they can teach me about the world something I've never known. It might be an 85-year-old. It might be somebody who's around my age that just sees things differently. We all have different experiences, and if we share them with care and, with humility and with understanding, I think we can bring about beautiful things. And I think that's what this group does, and we continue to try to do. Um, Jennifer says, good to hear your thoughts and read them. Thank you. Um, Kimberly says, you can be respectful when things need to be addressed. Yeah, I think there's a way to handle things, and we're not seeing as much of it these days. And like I said, I think that comes from the fact that we are the most connected we could possibly be right now, but we are also very disconnected from one another. Um, and we're disconnected, I think, from um, I don't know, from some source that comes from within us, and we all share. And there's a lot of terms for a lot of things, and a lot of people believe in a lot of different things, whether you're religious, whether you're not, whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in a soul, whether you believe whatever you believe, whether you believe it's just all vibration, whatever it is. Science is starting to find things, and I try to read up on this. Um, like right now, there are scientists that believe um, that consciousness is what actually lays behind everything. like behind time and space, and it's actually consciousness, that we are just in a massive consciousness, and it provides, us with the ability to be here. And it's kind of amazing that, there the idea that there could be this source that flows through everybody. And like I said, whether you believe that is the soul, that we are all one, or whatever you think, um, I believe that we are, by separating ourselves so much, we are sometimes pulling ourselves away from that. Um, and by not coming together and not, experiencing one another in person as much as we used to, and not living in communities, and like multi-generational homes, and things like that, I think that we're starting to fall away from some of that. But I also think that some of that is starting to come back. um, like I said, science is starting to understand some of these things a little bit more. um, and um, People, I think, are getting tired of just doing the digital stuff now. We see a lot more young people. Yes, they have their phones and they have their devices and tablets, but at the same time, they're also going to movie theaters again, and they're like out in the parks again, doing things and roller skating and or skateboarding. Like, younger people are doing these things that many of us used to do and have gotten pulled away from. And I hope I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. um Andrew says William is better at it than me. I don't know, you're pretty. I mean, you have done a lot of work to understand yourself and understand what's going on with you. I try and do some of that work. I don't think I'm as good at that self-discovery work. um so I have to give you credit for that, because I don't know that I am better um, at a lot of that stuff. But I try to be understanding of people, because I look back at my life, and I see things that I did that were horribly dumb. I see things um, that I started thinking that if I had continued on that line of thought, I would have been a very different person. I would not have been as nice of a person, or as understanding of a person. And I see points in my life that I wasn't guided. I just chose different things, and they could have turned out any different way. And when I'm talking to somebody, you know we have that. You can very often see yourself at some other stage in your life in somebody else. And I think sometimes that's why we get so angry at one another, because we chose to be different than that person at some point. Maybe it's that exact thing you're talking about, but you chose to go a different way and they chose to go the other way. And um, And I think that's where some of that anger creeps in sometimes. I know that's with me when I'm talking to somebody and they're on the exact opposite of the way I'm thinking. But I know that at one point I could have gone that way. Um, and it's sometimes very difficult to confront that, and to not understand why they would not choose, why they chose to go that way. When I look at me and I'm like, I'm right. Like, right? We think we're right. Um, and so, but for their circumstance, that didn't happen, for whatever reason. And I think trying to understand that, sometimes we're just not going to agree. There are a lot of things going on right now I do not agree with. I have to look out for my own safety in a lot of things now. I wake up with a lot of anxiety these days, um, a lot extra that doesn't need to be there. But there are a lot of people, I say unfortunately, but I mean, that are not, I shouldn't say unfortunately. There are a lot of people who are waking up with less anxiety, um, for however they're thinking. And that's something that, we have to try to understand, and we have to try to come together and try to understand why that is and how that works. And it's not going to happen unless we just start trying. It's not just going to happen on its own. Understanding doesn't always just happen on its own. It happens when you try. And I talk to people that do not think like me very often. Um, as a gay person, generally I'm 1 in 10. I am 1 in 10. And so when I look around, 90% of the world is not me. Um, and it's a fact that I've had to grow up with from the very moment I knew that I was gay, the very moment I learned 1 in 10. Um, and that's that's a hard thing to think about, but that has been my life. And that has been the life of many, many people. And it's not just whether it's gay, it's a lot of different things. You could be 1 in 5, you could be 1 in 20. I have vitiligo. I don't even know what the stats of that are. I lived through that. And that was a hard thing to deal with. And so, I try to look at people and I try to understand who they are and let them understand me. And the only way I can do that is by talking like this. Um, and I have these deep conversations sometimes with people, less often now, because we're pretty insulated, Andrew and I, as far as who we see on a daily basis. When I was in college, when I was in high school, I loved these conversations because usually, probably 9 out of 10 times, when you actually sit down and talk with somebody and explain how you feel, if they are reasonable at all, they understand, or at least they walk away saying, you know what, you're not so bad. Um, and I wish we could all get together a little bit more, without anger, and just kind of explain and kind of talk. Um, Anyway, that's that. I don't know. I could go on for hours about this, but I probably should start the live show and show you some things and maybe make some money tonight so that we can buy some more dinner tomorrow. um, Help pay our mortgage. But I love talking about these things, and I think that's why I try to be. Sorry, I have an eyelash or something. I try to be open with people about who we are when it's safe to do so. It's not always. I've learned that too. I'm also overcautious because of I grew up in the 80s and 90s when it was definitely less safe. So maybe I'm too cautious. But when I feel safe to open up to people, I try to. And, you know, and you may not be able to completely understand where I'm coming from, but I hope that you can understand in some way. Um, I think if we all had more of an ability to put ourselves in the shoes of other people, um, we'd be fighting the good fight, I think, together. Um, but anyway, that's that. Sorry if you all weren't for that long talk, but actually my numbers kept going up as I was talking, so I figured it must not be too bad. Marian says, there are times when I need to ask Odin to grant me the wisdom around a lot of things. Yeah, we all believe in different things. And, that's fine. That's good, I think. Um, let's see. Ba, ba, ba. Glenn says, I feel disconnected because some of the stuff I've been doing involves the privacy of someone else. So I can't talk about that, especially on socials. Yeah, I get it. 100%. You know, uh, we all, there are a lot of things that I would like to say that involve other people, but I don't want to endanger anyone. I don't want to, break the privacy or the the bond we have, because it's not my place. Um, so that is, I get it. And that's why, when I talk, I try and talk about me. And I know, like, I'm saying things here in this live. This is my viewpoint. Um, and this is if you are people who support us, hopefully you like that. Hopefully you understand where we're coming from. And I think most of y'all who watch here often do. And if you are new and you're here watching and you're tuning into this and you like what I'm saying, hopefully you will support what we do. We are a business. I can't, we don't do anything, we don't bend any way that we are to try to drive numbers. We have consistently, I hope you feel that way, consistently been these people, this person. Um, I hope to only get better. I know I will falter at times and I will not do as good of a job, but we never ride the wave of whatever's popular just to drive numbers for business. Our business is very much the way that we live. Um, it's what gives us an income. We are very lucky to be able to do this, and we're very lucky to be surrounded by people who, like you out there, who understand us and want to support us. But we are never going to, say something we don't believe just because it makes sales. And, some people do that, and they may be way better off than we are as far as money or as far as building their business, but I feel like there is a price to pay in that, um, in a deeper way. And because everything we do comes from kind of that, I feel like from that deeper source, I feel like I don't want to cloud that. I don't want to poison that. And, you know, uh, we're not the biggest company. We're not, you know, I think we're one of the best. Sorry. But um, I want to say we're the best, right? But I know there are great people out there, and we are among we uh, the people that we consider friends and the business people that we work with. We are in good company, and I believe we find people who value that kind of thing. Kimberly says, absolutely. That's why I stay. Thank you. Lots of people sending hearts. Anna says, love you, friends. We love you back. Um, Andrew says, we always try to live in alignment with what we feel is right. Yes. That's a good way to say what I'm trying to get across. Andrew is very good at putting things into words, usually better than me. I work out of this very emotional, kind of deep feeling way, and I very much sometimes cannot express, um, because I didn't grow up that way. I didn't grow up expressing that. Like, my family loved each other, we knew it, but it wasn't something that we talked about feelings or talked about love or talked about all that often. And so I have this, and it's sometimes hard to put into words. Andrew's good at that. And it says, ethics are important to me. I give my business to people I believe in. Yeah, I mean, I think that has to be the thing. And you know, I'm not saying that we're always right. I'm not saying that everything we say has any impact on anyone else necessarily. Um, I think we fight the good fight, and we do the best we can with what we have and what influence we have. But mainly, I think the goal, and this is where I was going with, we are a business. The goal is to, yes, make a living. And I always talk about this. The goal is to make a living. I've got to make a living. We need to feed our cats. Um, we need to feed ourselves. And we're lucky to do that. Um, and yes, I would love to do that even better. I'd love to feed our cats better food and feed us better food. Um, and I do believe we'll get there. I do believe that this is a way. Um, I believe what we're doing is the way there. And I think it sometimes takes a longer time to get there than some people doing things in other ways. But I think we're doing it the right way. And We're never going to compromise our principles or our ethics to to um, to make money. Um, it's money is not what's important to us. Growing this and supporting a creative community and making beautiful things and making statements when we need to and standing up for people, that's what our business is about. It is not about making money. Money is just one of the things we need to keep going. And I listen to a lot of things. One of them talks about abundance and how it comes in so many different forms. It might be a gift from a friend, it might be money, it might be advice. We are surrounded by abundance. This world values or seems to value one over a lot of others. And we're not as rich in that one as we would like to be because we could do so much more. Um, but we are very abundant. And we thank you all for that and bringing that to us and surrounding us with that. Um, and I can't, I don't want to understate how important that is. Um, Andrew says, well, I didn't grow up expressing my feelings. Maybe that's why I try to do it now. Yeah, you do a good job of it, I think. I don't always. Um, but I try to understand where people are coming from, even if I can't express myself what I'm always thinking or feeling. 1 second, the screen might go blank. I have to change the color on my screen. It's 9 o'clock. This is the longest I think I've talked in a long time. Um, Kimberly says, I agree, Anna. I support people I believe in. Yeah, that's what we do. All of our vendors, we do not buy from people that we don't believe in. If we find a reason to not believe in them as much, we don't. We stop. If we see something that goes against our ethics or our morals, we cut off ties. We do not work with people who we feel do not align with what we are trying to create or we've created it, what we are trying to grow. Um, and that has happened many, many times throughout our history. Um, we find people not being, you know, we find people lying to people. We find people not treating employees right. We find there's a lot of things that have come up throughout the years. And we never, very rarely do we ever name them. We don't talk about it. We just cut ties with them. And if somebody recommends them to us or talks them to us, we will let people know we do not do business with them. We don't get into the details. It's not anybody's business, um, unless it's needed. Sometimes, um, safety wise or whatever. But that is when we find things out that don't align with our principles, don't align with our ethics, with our morality, we cut them out. And it has caused quite a lot of quite a lot of turmoil sometimes over the years. Um, and it has put us in positions in some cases where we've lost some vendors that, it took a long time to rebuild a new relationship or to replace what they were able to supply. But it's the only way that we could be. Um, we couldn't be any other way. We cannot support people who do not support their employees. We cannot support people who treat their employees poorly or their employees tell us they go home crying every day. Um, we cannot, we can't do that. You know, you're going to lie to people about, what you're doing, your business practices. We can't do that. We can't honestly send that energy out into the world. We cannot be a purveyor of those goods. Um, and we don't. And that's why, we say we handpick everything we bring to you. Everything is handpicked. We know generally where it comes from, or, we try to, you may not believe in the energy of things, but we try when we have things to make sure that the source that they come from or the energy that they carry with them is good. If we're buying vintage things, we want to know as much as we can about where it came from. Not everything, we can't know everything. Um, we can't guarantee like that these beads haven't seen their share of things. But there is even down to that kind of idea. Um, we want to make sure that the energy that's put out into the world is creative and is good and is happy. And, when you get a package from us, we don't want that package coming with, tears of somebody who went home crying because every day their workplace is terrible. Um, we don't want that. We don't want you having any part of that. And that's what we try to do, is to make sure that that doesn't happen. Hey, Linda. Hello, Linda. Welcome. This is William. I found out very recently that my bestie is your cousin, Tamara. Yeah. Um, um, yeah, I haven't seen her in a long time. But yes, yes, that's on my dad's side. Um, it's so wild sometimes. Like for the longest time, you know, I don't even know all my cousins and growing up, you know, our family is so widespread, and families can be and families are. And it's so good to find people, good people that you're related to and have things in common with, and that bring extra joy even in small doses, however they can. Um, And Andrew says, "You're biased, LOL." Yeah, a little bit. Got to be a little bit biased. Um, Andrew says, "You can DM me for the tea, LOL." He's going to spill the tea. Um, Andrew says, "I didn't know you had a cousin, Tamara." I do. I do. Yep. We don't see each other very much, but we talk online sometimes, share things online, encourage each other online. Um, yeah, it's 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 always, I think it's great to find out things like that, especially when they're good people, right? Um, but yeah, anyway, I could talk like this forever, but it's not going to put that one form of abundance in my bank account. So let's 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 work toward that a little bit now for the next hour or so and see what we can do. Um, I hate to even have to talk about that. I feel guilty talking about that, but we are a business, and I got to get over that, right? We are a business. We need to make money. That one form of abundance. Um, uh, Marion says, "I don't need a whole pot of tea, Andrew." Right? Just have microdosing that tea, right? Andrew says, "Now that you have named her, you'll run into her. Probably. Um, it's a very it is a very possible thing that I could run into her here. So yeah. All right. I turned the lights on and now I'm like backlit or something, or forward lit, and it's terrible. So let me flip this around. We're also, as you all know, we're kind of low tech here. As much as I love tech, um, we're kind of low tech, especially here at our home office. I'm trying to get more techie at the cottage for lives and things, but here we're low tech. We spin the camera. That's the way we do things. Kimberly says, "I'm coming down with a cold flu, so I could use a good read, Andrew." There you go. Don't get a cold or flu, Kimberly. Stop it. Did you take vitamin D? This is not a medical channel, y'all, but I will say, whenever I'm coming down with a cold or flu, like high dosing vitamin D, if you're able to, um, knocks it out of me pretty quick. So, I mean, consult your doctor and all that, but I will take fairly high doses of vitamin D over 2 or 3 day periods when I'm feeling the start. If I catch it at the start of a cold or flu, then yes. Says I'm taking zinc right now. Good. Zinc is another good one. Vitamin C, zinc, vitamin D. Vitamin D is the biggest one for me. That's why I always recommend it, because of that. Andrew says, what kind of books? He recommends The Glassmaker for book club. I was thinking she meant reading of the tea, but maybe you did mean a book. And yes, if y'all want a good book, read The Glassmaker for our book club. That's inspired by reading. Our meeting is on April 10th on Zoom. So if you want to connect with us that way too, read the book The Glassmaker by Tracy Chevalier, and then make something inspired by that book. Any kind of craft, any kind of thing you want to make. You can make a dessert, you can make food, you could make you could do, I don't know, anything, any kind of crafts. We've had people decorate shoes. We've had people brew beers. We've had, I don't know how quickly you can brew a beer, but you got a few months now. So whatever you want to do. And then join us on Zoom, and join our group on Facebook, Inspired by Reading. Kimberly says, I'll try that. I've not been outside, so that could help. Okay, what am I doing? I need to figure out what letters I'm going to use today. I don't think in my whole life we've never done cat lots. So we're going to do cats today. Cat 1. How have we never done cat lots? For goodness sakes. Let's see here. So if you are new and you have no idea how this works, if you'd like to purchase the things we're showing you in this video, take down the lot number, Cat 1, for example, send it to us in an email, info@allegorygallery.com. Emails come in timestamped. I always know who gets what that way, makes it super easy. If you comment on the live, you can say that's pretty, you can say whatever you want, but don't try and claim it in the comments, because I don't know. If we started that, we'd have no idea who got what. Because we have comments on YouTube, we have comments on Facebook, sometimes we go on Instagram. So just send us an email if you'd like to claim, put that in the subject line, Cat 1, for example, send it to info@allegorygallery.com, hit send. That's all you got to do. If you're new, make sure we have your shipping address and your email, if it's a different email for an invoice, for example. Marianne says, I won't be brewing beer. Okay. You could do a mead, you could do a wine. Kimberly says, because I'm sure Andrew can make it a good read with some Andrew comedy. Yes, he could. He could. Andrew says, except for me. Except for you what? Now I don't know what I was talking about. All right. Let me get something on the screen here, for goodness sakes. Whew. That was a I don't know. Hopefully it wasn't too much. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Sometimes I look back on it, I'm like, wow, did I just go way too deep and was I too weird? So hopefully not. I've got 5 of these. This is how this works. 5 of these. They are $6 each. Cat 1, $6 each. 5 of them available. These are vintage Czech glass strands. Oh, Andrew says get to claim in comments. Oh, yes. Andrew can claim in the comments. If he sees something that I'm not supposed to sell that I grabbed from his stash, or that he didn't know that I had access to, then he gets to claim it in the comments. See, this was $6 whenever this tag was put on, probably back in the 90s. And it's still $6 for you because we didn't raise the price on you. And we work with a good supplier for these. It gives us a nice enough deal that we can continue that price, at least on these live shows. When it goes in the online store, sometimes the price has to go up. But you always get the best deals here. These are these beautiful kind of, they're kind of a peachy orange. And they're these kind of twisted, I don't know, kernels? I don't know. What do you want to call those? But these are about 7 millimeter. Whoa, wait. At their widest, They're actually about 9 millimeters at their widest and about 11 millimeters there. And Jennifer says, Andrew will say, wait just a minute. Where did you find that? Yep. It happened. Was it yesterday? Yesterday on the live? The last thing I was going to show y'all. Andrew's like, wait, did that come from my stash? And I said, I don't know. I found it somewhere. And he'll be like, that's mine. So that's cat one. Let me pull up my email so I can tell you if anything's still available, what's still available. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me get this. All right. And let me put these away. Get my email up. We've sold one of cat one so far. Thank you so much. We've got 4 of them still available. Andrew says, I know he tried to take my beads. Them's fighting words. LOL. Oh, I know. I was just trying to give you all a good deal. Just trying to give you all a good deal on some pretty beads. Didn't know I was going to get in trouble. I didn't get in too much trouble at least. Okay. So we had these in blue. Nobody bought them. So why am I trying these again? Because they're in green, and that's even better than blue. Sorry if you like blue more, but not in my world. Although I do like blue. And Marianne says, but Andrew, you have been sharing more lately. He has been sharing a lot more lately, huh? So these, remember we had these in blue the other day, in that beautiful blue? We didn't sell any of them. Well, they're back in green. Maybe you'll like them in green better. They're lovely in green. They're more springy in green. Springtime. These are these nice, chunky monkey check glass vintage strands. They are table cut to reveal a beautiful green glass in the center. And they're $28 a strand. And we have 2 strands of those only. 2 strands available. Anybody gonna want the green ones? Anybody? Let's find out. Let's find out. All right. What else do I have in here? Here's some more green. Andrew says, sharing is caring, right? Anna says, yummy beads. Those are yummy. Like these are luxe. These are so pretty. I just think they're so juicy. Like you could bite into them. Don't eat the beads, but I feel like you could bite into those. These are $26 and there are 2 strands available. These are a deal. $26, 2 strands available. Look at these. How beautiful. Oh, Anna says, how big are they? That'd be good if I gave you size, right? These are about 17.7 by 14.6. Marianne says, I do thank you for those green pearls, Andrew. See? He does share because he cares. 21.6 on these ones by 25.0. These are beautiful. Look at those. Look at that shine, that chatoyance. It's more of a chatoyance, right? Chatoyant effect, not a shampoo. But look how they would have done that. Like that glass inside is in layers. The glass inside is done in layers to give you that scalloped look. And then they're coated on the outside. Like it's just amazing. Like the work that went into these beads. Like I can't even begin to fathom. They don't make these anymore, y'all. Have you seen these around? These don't come out of the modern check beads. They're so pretty, and they're such a cool shape. Like, I don't even know what you call that, but there it is. Cat 3, $26 a strand. Kimberly says those are cool. Those are very cool. I agree. We've had them in gray. We've had them in lavender. And we've just sold one of them, so there's only one left if you want to grab it. I think we've had them in gray and lavender, and this is the green. I think those are the only colors we got them in. I don't know if I can't remember if we had a pink or like a mauve color. Now this is from Andrew's stash that he's sharing. And I can't remember. I think it's angel coral. I think that's, Andrew can correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's called angel coral. It's a vintage. These are 60 a strand. I got to stand firm on that price because that is a good price. Whoa, come on. And this are these beautiful coral pieces. And they're just such a pretty color, and they're so smooth. They feel so good. Angel skin coral. Thank you, Andrew. And they are, let me get the light up here. So pretty. And this is the only time I've seen angels. I don't know how rare it is or if it's not rare. I don't know. This is a vintage strand, but I have not seen this come through the store, at least very often. I don't remember. This is the only one I remember. But look how pretty it is. It's so glassy and smooth. Andrew says it also looks like from my. I just said it was from your stash. I just said this is one that you allowed me to do, though. You allowed me to do that one. You gave me permission on that one. I don't know how long this is going to be permitted, so you might want to grab it if you're interested in it. Let me give you, I don't know. This is hard because they're all different lengths, but they're about 8 millimeters wide. But they're all different lengths. They are kind of graduated. Let me see up here. That's about 7 millimeters wide. Yeah, they're graduated to the biggest one here is about 12 millimeters wide. So they do have a graduation to them. Like that. Did you get permission in writing, William? No, I didn't. Maybe I should. Maybe I should next time, right? Are you sure it wasn't next to those mother of pearl daggers? Nope, nope. This one I got permission. At least once upon a time I did. Nope, nope. I have a feeling they're going to go next to those mother of pearl daggers if nobody buys them tonight, though. That's what it sounds like to me is happening. All right. This is Cat 5. And this is great, I think, if you're working with mixed metals, because it almost looks metallic. But these they're like a bronzy with they're almost like they're patinaed with like a blue and a green, but they're super cool. They are vintage check glass. They look like metal though, right? Like a patinaed metal. $12 for the strand, only one. I only got one of these. And that's Cat 5. $12, one of these. This is 10 and a half. by 15 millimeters. One strand available. Cat 5. And it says they're a gray blue with a bronze finish. Yeah, they're gray blue, but then there's some green in there with that finish. Look at that. Kind of like a mossy green in there. They're really pretty. Really, really pretty. All right. Let's see. I got room for one more. Cat 6. Okay. These are, well, there's only one of these. Cat 6. $14. Marianne's going into lurking mode. Lurking mode. And this is these beautiful, large-ish check glass melons. I'm going to call them melons. They're kind of a very pronounced melon, but they've got different finishes on each, and they're subtle. They're so pretty. Like there's some green, there's some that are blue, yellow, different color beads with the different finishes on them. And they are about 14.2 millimeters at the widest. About 14 millimeters. One strand available. Cat 6. All right, make some room here. I'm going to put cat 1 away. Still have 4 of these available. Cat 2 away. Nobody wants these big juicy beads in blue or green. Not even in green. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Make something with them. And everybody's going to ask me, where'd you get that? I'm going to be like, I used the only strand I had. And then they're going to be sad. Andrew says the beads themselves are different colors, but the finish is the same. Yeah, on those. And then these big beads, we've got one of these left. Don't miss out on that. You don't want to miss out. You never see that again. Maybe you will. Who knows? But, chances are you might never see it again. These are all vintage things. Okay, I'm going to move the angel skin coral down here. I'm going to move cat 5 down here. I'm going to move cat 6 down here. Okay. We had these before in a different color. And I think we sold a strand or 2 of the other colors, so I figured I'd try these ones. These are cat 7. And these are these triangular beads. 2 hole, kind of triangular. I know they have a name. I always forget the name. Somebody told me the name at one point. But they're this kind of reddish with a kind of blue-gray stripiness to them. Super cool. The thing I love about these is how they can lay. Like they're great for making a 2-strand bracelet. They like just fit so well on the wrist. And then you could do some really pretty things in between those. But I've got 2 strands of them. They are, get on here, about, let's see here, about 18 millimeters by height wise 6, thickness 3.5. Cat 7. $10. All right, this is cat 8. We had these at 18. I'm going to drop them down to 14 for you all. These are lampwork glass. Beautiful lampwork glass beads. You can see there's the old price. They were 18. 18 for the set of 3. Now 14 for you all. Beautiful rondelles. And those are 13.5 millimeters approximately. Anderson, maybe that's the next AGB challenge. Show a design using beads with 2 or more holes. That's a good one. These are from Gail Crosman Moore. Gail Crosman Moore created these beads. And you can have them for the low, low price of $14. Jennifer says the lampworks match with the coral, right? Beautiful. Good call. Good call, Jennifer. Also, I think these could be incorporated. That color would be really pretty mixed in with some of that. I don't know how you would put everything together, but that's some really nice color. Color play right there. Andrew says, or cat 1. Oh yeah. Let's pull that back out. You got cat 1. Oh, look at that too. So pretty. Cat 1 goes really well with that. Throw some of that in there. Look at that. It'd be a nice mix. All those would be very well mixed together. See that? I didn't know I was on a pink. They're not really pink. Kind of pink, kind of salmony, kind of orangey. I don't know. I didn't know I was on that vibe today though, but apparently I was because I've pulled 3 kind of 4 things already that are that kind of in that zone. How wild is that, right? Sometimes you don't realize. I think I pull things at random, but sometimes it's not so random when it comes down to it. These are $14. These are just like Cat 6, but a different vibe. These are Cat 9. And these are like, if you said, oh, I like that bead on that strand. I wish they were all that bead on that strand. Well, here you go. Here you go. It's the green and blues only. There's a force guiding you, says Andrew. I know, right? That force is guiding me. Cat 9. Here, I'll measure these again because I forgot. You probably forgot too. They're about 15 millimeter. 15 millimeter. He says, except when you show my beads, then it's a dark force. The dark force of theft, thievery. All right, I'm going to put this one away. Nobody's grabbed that coral. I'm surprised. It's kind of a unique coral, I think. And then these, nobody grabbing those, just the one, Cat 5. One kind of metallic looking beauty. I thought those were really pretty. And then we'll put 6 away. There's only one of this one. That mix and match strand. One of those available. Cat 6. You said thievery, and Tallulah just meowed. She does like to steal the beads, that little girl. That's part of her charm. Part of her charm. She's a little thief. Okay. Uh-oh, I hear sirens out there. This is $6. What a nice strand. Maybe you want some brighter color. Maybe these colors aren't your style. So here's a break. Here's a break in the color scheme. Bright yellow. Bright yellow. That's some dandelion yellow right there. Anybody waiting for the dandelions to pop up? I love dandelions. Beautiful. Gilbert was sitting with me, says Andrew, and Ida Bell just kicked him out. Oh, Ida Bell's being bossy today. She was yelling at Gertie earlier, too. And then Barnaby was chasing Gilly today. Jennifer says, is Tallulah cat 1? She's about cat 3, cat 4 in the lineup. Probably cat 3, cat 2. I don't know. She hovers between 2 and 3, probably. Oh, these yellow ones are about 7.8 by 17.7 millimeters. Andrew said she's 5. She's 5. Uh-oh. She's low on the roster today. Andrew ranks them every day. They got new rankings from Andrew every single day. Ooh. Now these are hefty priced. I think this is the most expensive strand of the check class. $30 whole dollars. But oh, you're working with metal. Look at those black beauties right there. Black glass table cut with that beautiful finish all around the edges. Only one strand of that left. We started with 3 and we've only got 1 left. It's kind of a platinum-like finish. It's really pretty. In person, they even look better than on camera, especially with my fingerprint getting all over them. But they are so pretty. 1 strand only. These giant table cut nuggets. They're about 19.5 by 21.5 millimeters per bead. $30 a strand. As you can see, that was the old price. Let me see if I can get it up there for you. $30. The old price probably in the 90s or early 2000s. And we're selling them to you still $30 only. No inflation on that. No tariff extra prices on that. We just sold cat 10. Thank you so much. I'm going to put that one away. Move cat 11 down. Gilbert is wallpaper today. Gilbert got the wallpaper. Okay. We had one of these before. People were like fighting over it before, and I found another one. I didn't know we had it. Andrew and I must have bought 2 separate batches. Sometimes when we were doing this, um, we were like in a daze, in a delightful daze, those really good dazes where when you're doing the buying, and we were both shopping, and I think we both bought these strands. These are these beautiful kind of pineapple quartz colored check glass. They look like that old, somebody called them old hotel crystal. They look like old crystal. I only had one strand before, and a few people wanted it. So here it is again. I think it's the same size as before. I can't remember from memory. But if you liked it before, we've got one strand left. And I can't say there aren't more somewhere, but Andrew says, I love those. He may have set some aside. They'll probably never come out of his collection. This will probably go into his collection if we don't sell it tonight, because I think I want to keep it. So I'll put it in our collection over there. These are about 12 and a half by 14 millimeters. Andrew says these are a little bit bigger than the others. We had 2 or 3 different sizes before that people were fighting over. I've shown a few different sizes over the last few weeks of these. We did have smaller, and I think we had even bigger. So these might be the middle size. I don't know. But they're $12 because that's what they were way back when. And there's one strand of those left. Aren't they pretty? Cat 12, $12. That worked out. Cat 12, $12. Okay, I'm going to put cat 7 away. It's those 2 whole triangular beads. Nobody wants that color. I know we sold a few of these the other day I think in the brown color. We had an amber color of those. And nobody grabbed cat 8, not with how well it went together with all those other beads. Beautiful handmade lampwork glass, like Gail Crosman Moore. Can't believe it. Even with a reduced price. All right. Hard sell tonight. Making my job tough tonight. I thought I picked some good stuff for y'all. All right, let's see here. What's next? Let's try this. $5. $5. This is this beautiful stone pendant. Beautiful stone pendant. It was $5 back then. It's still $5 now. This would not be $5 in today's pendant world. But it is for you all right now. Andrew says, I also wanted to remind people that if they need their packages sooner and don't want to combine, to email us. Yeah, we assume if you're watching on the live, because we do a live every single weekday, we assume that if you purchase something, especially if it's just like 1 or 2 things, that you will probably want to continue watching to make a bigger package so you can save on shipping. If you do not, if you would like anything shipped out immediately, whether that's here during the live or in our online store, because if you make a purchase on the live and in the online store, I'll usually hold them to combine them too. But if you want something to ship out right away, just put a note on your email or put a note in your order when you place it online, and just let me know that you would like it to be shipped as soon as possible, and I will ship it out separately as soon as possible for you. Or the D-Stash, that is correct too, Andrew. The D-Stash is also, if you're in our D-Stash group, anytime you want something shipped out, if you like, I need that as soon, you can hold the rest of it, but I need that particular thing, I will do my best to ship it out quickly to you. Usually I can do that pretty quick. Got 13. This pendant is 40 millimeters. 40 millimeters. But we also do hold So if you buy something for $5 and that's all you saw that you wanted tonight, then tomorrow you might find something else and you can combine them and not pay $6 in shipping for something that's $5. We're always happy to do that. We have a number of people who like to hold things and they don't mind, and we combine as much as we can and then ship them out. Because we hate charging people extra for shipping when we don't have to. Because pretty much every package starts at $6. Um, and then once it goes over 4 ounces, technically it goes up. But generally, I don't always charge all that much more. This is also from Andrew's stash that he permitted me, I swear, to show you all. $140. These beautiful rubies, graduated rubies. Andrew says, you know who I haven't seen in a while? Amy Lowe. I miss her food posts. I've not seen Amy in a little while either. She got a new cat. She's probably been busy. He says, oh, my rubies. This is cat 14. These beautiful, gorgeous ruby drops. Solid rubies, natural rubies. Aren't they spectacular rubies? Look at the colors in them. Oh, there's a little bit of ruby flash in there. Look at that. Ooh, nice. Beautiful. Jennifer says, interesting color play on those rubies. I know, right? Look how really pretty they are. Andrew says, if no one gets them, I'm taking those ones back. All right, so that's it, y'all. You heard it here. This is the last offering of these rubies. $140. Only one strand available. This is a high-end strand. You can tell because of the tassels. No, you can tell because of the color and the beauty. Those are natural, not dyed. Natural rubies. And that's $140 for the strand. One strand available. There's a lot of weight in there. Oftentimes stones at this quality are sold by weight. Beautiful strand. Jennifer says, Andrew, you're snatching these back. He is if they are not sold. Oh, we just sold 13. Thank you so much. Let me put that away. You have a really good deal on those stone pendants. I'm going to have a few more of these for you tonight. Normally, you would pay more of these for these in a store right now. Andrew says, I'll let folks have a chance, but if they don't go by the end, I'm taking them back. Yeah, so if you don't grab these by the end of tonight, go back. Probably never to be seen again. Andrew, once he takes something back, it doesn't usually come back out for quite some time. If he leaves it in my stash where I can pull from stuff, then they'll come around again. But when he's done, when he pulls them back into his stash, that's it. All right. This is a horn pendant. It is $10. It was $10 before. It is staying $10 now. This is a horn pendant made out of horn. Was 10. Still 10. Beautiful. That's a big pendant, y'all. That is a big pendant. Oh, I didn't give you the size on the rubies. They're hard to size because they're graduated, but they start from 5.5 by 7.5. And the largest one, well, thickness-wise is 12. And then this one, the length on this one is the longest. They're about 19. And then this horn is 71.5 by 74 and no, 79 and a half. Andrew says, I get bursts of sharing, but my true heart is to collect them all. Yeah. This is big, but it's super lightweight because it's horn. Vintage horn pendant, super lightweight. And this is one of those that you could dangle stuff in front of. Use this as the back piece, right? The background, and dangle other things in front of it if you wanted to. But look at that. Look at the luminosity through that. Isn't that pretty? Love it. One of those available. Cat 15. Okay, I'm going to put Cat 9 away. Nobody grabbed any of those. And let's see, that was 10. This is 11. I'm going to put 11 away. Nobody grabbed this last one. This would be great with some gunmetal stuff. You know what this would be great with? Pearls. Do I have any? I think this would be amazing with a gray pearl or even a white pearl. Like a, even champagne. I can't believe I don't have any pearls. I only have red and I do have some gray ones here. They're peacock. I have peacock pearls. Let's see what they look like with peacock pearls. Yeah, look at those with those peacock pearls. That'd be really cool. We have lots of these peacock pearls available in our online store and in our physical store. That's the necklace I made one time, once upon a time. And we'll put that away. Cat 11. We'll move 12 down. Move the rubies down. Move the large horn pendant down. All right. This is a hand-carved stone cross. Hand-carved stone cross pendant, $15. I feel like it almost like looks like it glows in the dark. It does not, it's stone, but it's so pretty. Hand carved. I just like the design work in that. One available, $15. That was the old price again, by the way. There's the old tag on that. What do we have here? Sticking with the carved items. We have two of these. They are $10 each. Hand carved stone pendants. It's like these little tree frogs. Tree frogs. There's the old price. Hand carved stone pendants. Beautiful. Love these stones. This one looks like carnelian. Not sure if this is the same. I think it's just a rougher Not as much of a luminescent stone, but I like them both. Might just be both like a red agate. Super pretty. And those are some good carvings. 34.7 by 50.5. So they're the two together. I kind of like the darker one myself. I don't know. It's a hard choice. I like this bit of inclusion right here, though, on this one. Cat 17, $10 each. Andrew, what's the name of that show we've been watching? I kept telling people I think it was Almost Home or something like that. I can't remember the name of the show. What have you all been watching lately? Anything good? Anything new? I feel like we haven't done a. I feel like people haven't talked about any new shows they've been watching lately. We talked about it sometimes, but then I tried to sign into Netflix and it wouldn't let me sign in. The Way Home. There it is. The Way Home. I was like, Almost Home doesn't. It's 3 words. The Way Home. Look at these, y'all. Whoa. Look how fun those are. And actually, they want to be with these, I feel like. They just jump down there. But I think these could go really well together. Right? Look at that. Or maybe you like this lighter one. Check that out, y'all. Super pretty. This is a cool shape. I don't know what you call it. These are vintage Czech glass. And they're super cool. I love the vintage Czech glass because they come in shapes you don't see. They don't make these anymore. 14.5. They were so creative before, and now 17, 14.5 by 17. Now, especially with tariffs and things, a lot of the makers are like they're making what people are going to definitely buy. They're not going to play around with like crazy new shapes, or at least as often. I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, but when things are harder to sell, you stick to what's safer. And so the vintage stuff that we've already got is very cool because you get these wild shapes and things that you never are going to see, or probably not going to see again. Every once in a while, they bring back a shape, though. We've seen it happen, like English cut. That's one that's come back. Andrew says, I grew up during the time they time traveled too in the first season, so it's fun to see nods back to that time. Yeah, On the Way Home, that show is such a good. I like it a lot. I've been enjoying that show quite a bit. All right, CAT 19. $18 a strand, 2 strands available of these beautiful blue drops. Vintage Czech glass with a cat hair from my hand stuck on there. Aren't they pretty? Blue spring and summer skies. Gorgeous drops. Czech glass. Those make some nice earrings, some inexpensive earrings. There's lots of drops on here. 16 millimeters by 12. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 30. There's about 35 or so drops on there, I think, if I counted correctly. Andrew says, we have been watching Fallout, but we needed a break from the gore. Yeah, I enjoy Fallout too. Some of the people that came into the store last weekend were talking. They were enjoying watching Fallout, but they especially liked the video game. And I'm like, I never played the game. And they're like, well, that's interesting that you never played and you still like the show. He said that probably says a lot about the show being pretty good quality then. Charlie is lurking in the email. Thank you, Charlie, for lurking. So I enjoy your words before the live. Thank you. And all the stones look yummy. 9 out of 10 would eat. Don't eat the beads. Don't eat the beads. Says enjoying looking at the beads that came in my last order, waiting for inspiration to hit. Made shepherd's pie today, hoping the weather stays warm. What did the groundhog say? More winter. We're not listening to that. We're not listening to that at all. Says I haven't watched anything new, just YouTube. So I only hear about new shows from y'all. LOL. That's funny. We're also watching Starfleet Academy, and that comes out tonight. Yeah, I think at like what 10 o'clock right now. The shows are coming out at weird times. We just sold one of the 19s. Thank you so much. There's only one of those left. I'm gonna speed this up a little bit because I didn't realize we're getting late because I talked so dang much earlier, right? I've only got 10 more lots to go or so, so we'll rock on through. Nobody grabbed that 12. All right. See, you never know. You never ever know. Sometimes people like fighting in the email. They're not really fighting, but you know what I mean. Fighting in the email over those. The rubies, nobody. Going once, going twice. Strand never to be shown again, at least not for the foreseeable future. I'm going to put that right now in Andrew's pile. If nobody claims it before the end, before I say good night tonight, it's going to stay in Andrew's pile. Cat 15, this big old horn pendant, $10 only. Andrew says Egg and Dunk comes on at 10 on Sundays. Yeah, it's so weird, right? Oh, Diane says Star Trek Academy. Yeah, I know. It's such a good show. I like it a lot. Cat 16 is that cross. I know some people were talking about Star Trek Academy being like it's not like it's like it doesn't feel like its place is in the Star Trek world, I guess. But I think it very much fits in. I think it very much fits in with the ideals and the ideas behind Star Trek. Like, you didn't watch much Star Trek if you think this doesn't fit in. That's what I feel like. I grew up with watching Star Trek with my mom. My mom and I we went and rented all the movies. I guess my brother was there too, but I think sometimes like my mom and I would stay up late and we'd watch Star Trek together, and I like Star Trek. Andrew says hooray. He's keeping his rubies. Maybe. You've still got a few minutes, y'all, if anybody's gonna grab those rubies till I sign off. Okay, if you like big beads at a great price, this is I don't know, this is an amazing price. Cat 20, $18 only for those big beads. Andrew says they're also children. I mean, young adults. They are young adults, very young adults on this show, right? As we get older, there are more and more young adults on shows. It's funny the transition, right? When you go from most people on TV being, you look at them and they're generally older than you, right? You grew up, like I grew up with Saved by the Bell and those kind of shows, and like everybody was older. And now hitting my late 40s, turning into the late 40s, now most people on TV I feel like are younger than me. Cat 20, $18 only. Diane says the last episode had Avery Brooks in it. Captain Cisco. Kimberly says those are massive. They are massive. For $18, that's a steal. These are about 17.5 millimeters. Faceted large rounds. Oh, look at that. Anderson, so if they acted like they were seasoned officers, it wouldn't be realistic. No, no, they're like, say, kids in college. It's pretty much how they're acting, right? Okay, this is $12. I've only got one of this at 21. This is like the what I called like the metallic strand earlier, but this time in this color. This kind of butterscotchy color. Honey golden color. And these also, just like the other ones, they have a like a platinum finish on them that gives them a little bit of extra shine. The brown one or the gray kind of steely ones had that too. I don't know if I pointed that out, but you can see it on these really well. They have like a glossy finish. Cat 21, and again, the size on these is about 10.5 by 15 millimeters. And I think I miscounted because I'm running out of beads and I'm not hitting 30 yet. I might have to go grab a few extra. I did this really quick as I was running from the cottage today. Oh, now this Andrew gave a really good price on this. At 22, $56 only. This is one of Andrew's special tourmaline pebble strands. Tourmaline pebbles. Andrew says, I got kind of frustrated with them in the last episode. Not like I could do better, but if I was in their situation, I forgot they're just kids. I've been watching Star Trek longer than they've been alive, right? You're like, what about, why wouldn't they just do this? Why wouldn't they do that? But they are just, they're in their first year of the academy, a lot of them. Look at these tourmaline. Take a look, y'all. That is a beautiful, look at that yellow tourmaline. Ooh. And price set at $56. Beautiful tourmaline nuggets. Just the one strand. Look at the, ooh, that's like a petro. There's some black. There's some of that kind of petro tourmaline, the green, brown. Really pretty. Andrew's like, I'm like, flush the airlock. I know. He was like yelling at the TV. Says, I wonder what our neighbors think when I'm screaming at the TV. And these nuggets, this is about 11 by 15 on this one right here. This one on this finger. So you can see they're close to that 11 by 15 millimeters. What do you think of those, everybody? I love nuggets like this. When they're not super pure, when they have some of the matrix they come with, I think they're more special. Like, I don't know, completely clear, transparent, translucent. and all that. That's all nice, you know. That comes with its own price too, usually much, 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 much higher. But I think these have a natural beauty to them, and they're so nice. One strand available, cat 22. All right, I'm gonna put cat 17 away. It's these two hand carved pendants. And I'm gonna put, let's see, where's my bag for 18? There it is. Hey, Anne. Thanks for joining us. Hello, AGB fam, coming in on the end. Glad you could make it. Whoop. Whoa, my screen just went wild. What's happening? There we go. Glad you can make it, Anne. Had some nice stuff tonight. Had a nice chat at the beginning. Feel free to catch a replay if you get a chance. How's Daniel Tiger tonight? How are you tonight? I'm going to put cat 19 away. We've got one of these left. We've sold one. Still one left. A lot of check glass, vintage check glass tonight on show. Move these down, these golden nuggets. Faceted rounds, only $18. But these only 12. And this strand with that beautiful, 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 again, tourmaline, only $56 for those tourmaline nuggets. Still available. I thought that one would get scarfed up right away. And it says, Daniel as well, I'm happy because I took tomorrow off. Oh, nice. That's nice. We took Monday off, and I have to admit, we don't do that very often at all, but it was nice. We still did stuff. When I say I took it off, I mean I only worked like 3 or 4 hours that day instead of like 10 to 12, but it was very nice. I'm glad you took the day off and you and Daniel can spend the day together. I'm sure he will like that too. This is $12. Unless you've got other things you've got planned. Anne says, I sent an email and got a message blocked rejection to us. That shouldn't be happening. I didn't block nobody's email. That's weird. I don't know why it thinks. Huh. Let me check. Anybody else have that happen? Has anybody else sent anything in that I've said has not sold anything of? Hopefully we're not having email issues. That is the one danger of doing things by email. So I send it again, see if it goes through this time. Okay. Let's see. I don't like when that happens. It rejected it again. Let me send an email from another email to our email. Let's see if I get my own email. All right, while we're doing that, Anna says, I have sent 3 email requests. Anna, I've got yours. I did get yours. I just got my own. My own just came through. I don't know, Anne. Says I'll try from a different server. Okay. See if that works. Anna, I just got your test. Norma, thank you. I just got your test. So it doesn't look like it's on our end. Whoa. Except my email app just crashed now. Okay, let me try. That was not, that was weird. My email is having some weird issues because it's not deleting messages. But I'm getting other people's. But I can't delete them. Oh boy. Anyway, well, let's keep going, I guess. And it says it must be me. I'm not so sure. And I know we definitely didn't block you. I don't even know how I could block you. I don't have that. I mean, I would have to go into the server to block anybody. And I don't go into the server. I work only through my mail app. Um, there. Whatever that was went through. So got it to go through that time. I got your email. Thank you. So I don't know if you tried a different server, that's what it was, or what happened. Okay, sorry everybody. Just wanted to make sure that wasn't on our end, so people weren't getting, other people weren't having things rejected. This is Cat 23. And these are these beautiful shampoo-y effect check glass. They're table cut. And they're so pretty. It's kind of ovally drops, more like drops. Those are lovely, says Andrew. I know, I forgot we had these, to be 100% honest. I don't know if we've ever sold any. Did anybody ever get one of these? These are 12 by 17 and a half millimeters. Cat 23, $12. Jennifer says shampoo-y. I know, right? They are. They're shampoo-y. They've got that shampoo effect. You know when you put the shampoo in there in your hand and you move it around, it's got that pearlescence shampoo-y effect. Just sold one of those. Just sold two of those. And this is my favorite color. That kind of periwinkle color, right? Is that periwinkle, would you say? All right. This is, oh, we did a low price on this one. $7. Cat 24. And said, yes, periwinkle. I love periwinkle. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't know what periwinkle was. And now I do. It's I love periwinkle. It's so pretty. And it says, I think it's close to periwinkle. It's a calm color, says Jennifer. We just sold another one of these. There's only one left. Andrew says, if my future self is watching, I'm not opposed to receiving beneficial information. I know, right? I don't care what it does to the timeline. Please, you can feel free to give me beneficial information. You know, we're watching that time traveler show. We just sold the last one of 23. Thank you so much. And they talk about, we can't say that, can't do that because it might affect this, or you don't want to know the future. You don't want to know about your future. I'm like, if it's beneficial information, you tell me. If I should invest in Apple when I'm 8 years old, I get my mom to invest in Apple. I don't care what we have to do. If my future self decides to come back and talk to my, you know, my young teen self when I had my first job and says, "Don't spend the money on that restaurant tonight. Invest it in stock in Apple." I am okay with that. I am all right. This is Cat 24. It's a hand carved stone pendant, and it was $10, and we're doing it for $7. Oh, somebody else just tried to grab 23. I'm sorry. We are sold out. Um, Kimberly says, yeah, I would call it periwinkle. I love blue, most any shade, says Anna. Nice. LOL, says Anna. That's so funny and true. Andrew says, they'd be crying about stuff for that angst. I know. I'm like, just you tell me. Future self, tell me. Let me know what is good for me. You gonna give me some information that's gonna help? I will accept the information. Is it gonna hurt the timeline? I don't know. How much is it gonna change? I don't know. But if it's for the better, if it's like, you know, play these lottery numbers instead of those lottery numbers, that's all right. You can tell me. I feel like they're wasting a lot of good potential in not taking advantage of that in this show. Most time traveling shows. I know they talk about the butterfly effect and all that. I'm like, if I could win the lottery, I'll let the butterfly spread its wings a little bit. It's okay. Cat 25, $4. This is a cool pendant. It's a very cool pendant. It's flat on the back, so it'll sit nice. Really beautiful. One available, $4 only, Cat 25. Angela is like, I'm like, let's experiment. You look them up. You look up them lotto numbers and we'll see what happens, right? Let's experiment a little. Let's not wonder what it's gonna do. Let's pretend, right? All right. What do I have in here? This is $6. If you like crosses, it's a good day. We got lots of crosses here today for some reason, but this is what I pulled. This is $6. Looks like carved serpentine or jade. Maybe serpentine. Maybe jade. Carved cross. $6. That's Cat 26. And I miscounted. So I'm just gonna run across the room and grab like 4 more things. Trying to find good stuff for y'all. Everything's good stuff. All right. Okay. Everything's good stuff. Oops. Andrew says, but I'm also the person who would flush out all the cannibal aliens into outer space, right? Andrew says, hurricanes happen all the time. Might as well weather the storm in luxury. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, let me put away. What am I putting away here? Put away 20. Nobody grabbed this one. I thought for sure somebody would grab that one. Nobody grabbed that big, that nice. They don't make big check beads much anymore. As many of you know who watch us often, we talk about this, but we've been told that there are only a few families that make the really big check beads, and they can actually usually tell you which exact family made the beads. And many of those families, the kids don't want to continue making them. So a lot of those families are falling away. And so big check glass like that is going to get probably, unless something changes, and with all the tariffs and stuff and the cost of things to import, especially with weights like that, um, there's probably going to be fewer and fewer big check glass beads, which is kind of really sad because they're kind of awesome. But they're also getting more and more expensive these days. Like you try and buy a big strand, they are more and more expensive every day. Okay. At 27. Okay, so I lied earlier when I said those were the $30 strand of check glass was the most expensive. We're up to $35 now, but these are beautiful. And if you want a spring color, there's nothing more springy, I feel like, than this. Andrew says the raw materials are going up. Yeah, they're just, it doesn't make sense to make, for one, big heavy beads that take a lot of raw material, and then they take a lot of weight to ship. So they make shipments heavier and more costly. Andrew said there are also certain shades of red which are no longer available. Kimberly says those are bright. They are very bright. They are fantastic. They are very springy, and they have kind of like the yellow and the green and the blue. Yellow and blue make green. They're really pretty. I love these. There are, I think, 6 strands available, if I counted right. They are 18 millimeter table cut. Jennifer says those are amazing greenies. I know. Aren't they? So fun. Beautiful color. Again, going to be a limited commodity someday. They're already limited. We just have them because we have wonderful vendors who have these vintage things that we're able to grab. They let us know when they have good things. And every once in a while, we're able to grab them because you all support us. And we can reinvest that money back into the business by buying wonderful inventory like this. Let's see here. We're going to do this for, well, normally we would do it for 12. I'll do them for 10 tonight. Cat 29 or 28, I'm sorry, are these vintage check glass beads. Look how pretty those are. Vintage check glass. Jennifer says it's so interesting when we see them up close, they are more yellow and blue. Then when you put them down, they go green. I know, right? They're so cool. There's a lot of blue in them, but then yeah, it's cool. Playing with color. I like these. These are so much fun. They're kind of diagonally impressed. And they're this beautiful light blue with that chatoyant pearlescent white. And there's only one strand of those available. Vintage check glass, again, $10. Oh, the size on these is 10 by 22. 10 by 22. Cat 29. Someone bought up all the PO48 pigment and it has been discontinued. That pigment makes quinacridone orange. I know you like those quinacridones. Or quinacridone? I think that's how you pronounce it, quinacridone. We've just sold 28. Thank you so much. And this was 24. What stone is this? It's a carnelian, I think. Yeah, was 24. I'll do it 22. This is really pretty. I think it's a carnelian. Andrew, is that carnelian or is this something else? Do you remember? It's really pretty. It's got that beautiful whiskey kind of color to it. And they're not perfect little stones, but I think they're pretty perfect. I love those. Hessonite garnet. That's what I was wondering. I was like, they don't quite look like carnelian. They look too like juicy. I don't know. I don't know what the word is for it. So these are Hessonite garnets, you know. Because I kept thinking carnelian. I'm like, that kind of flash in there, that's not the same. That's not what carnelian does. And this is root beer. Yeah, right. So Hessonite garnets, really pretty. Only $22 for the strand. They're all different shapes and sizes. Let me lay it out here for you so you can see. Let me just grab this one just to give you an idea. They're about 10 millimeters, and this one is about 16 long. So they're about 10 millimeters wide, and then various lengths. And then I pulled these because I thought people might like them for the fire horse. If you wanted to pair them, they're $6. There are two of them. And says, I made a necklace with those. I love them. Yeah, we had a few strands of these. This is the last one. That came in a vintage buyout. Those are vintage strands. I think they're so nice. Did I see that necklace on? These. Talk about beautiful fire horse. It's got that orange and red energy with a silver core. $6 a bead. 2 beads available. And says, yep, okay. I feel like I did. Okay, we sold 29. So thank you so much. That one is now gone. I'm almost a little sad about that. You know, I love to make a sale, but I could imagine myself using those. And this is 30. And these beads are about 12 by 40. 12 by 40. And that, our friends, is the show for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with me through my deep speech. I don't know, my deep talks earlier. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed it. I get into that every once in a while. And today it just came out again. Sometimes that happens. Andrew says there's a shade of red that has a mineral from China which is no longer available. So they've changed the recipe. I knew one enamel artist who freaked out because her line uses that particular shade of red. Yeah, it's true. Kimberly says, good night. Sending love to all. Good night, Kimberly. Love you back. We've just sold one of 30, by the way. So we've only got one of those left if you're interested. And yeah, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being here with us for the last 3 hours. I'm running a little late to do all my invoicing and make dinner, so I'm going to go. And I wish you all a great night. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for being in our community. Thank you for all of your support. And we will see you back here tomorrow, as long as I get home from the store on time, around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope you'll join us again. Have a great night, everybody. Bye now.